able to get around space as easily as we can get around in our cars is a dream many have grasped at, but none have achieved so far, although not for lack of trying. Elon, I'm looking at you. We've covered the so-called impossible drive several times on this channel, and according to some recent updates, it looks like it might really be impossible. The impossible drive, also known as the M drive, was originally conceptualized in the early 2000s. It's a form of hypothetical space travel that wouldn't require any fuel. The drive works, again hypothetically, by bouncing microwaves around a conical metal chamber. Conventionally, you need to push against the matter around you to move anywhere. That's how physics, as defined by Newton's third law of motion, works. You know, like the conventional rocket thrusters we have, that's how they work. This drive, were it to really function, would break our fundamental understanding of Newtonian physics.
Not unless your ship was already in motion. So, a body at rest tends to stay at rest, and a body in motion tends to stay in motion. First use conventional rockets to start it up, which are already in motion. The EM drive. It would reduce the thrust or energy thrust required. They keep the required.
May have measured the drive working. In 2016, a team of NASA researchers detected a tiny amount of thrust while testing the drive in a vacuum, although they were hesitant to attribute that thrust to anything except experimental error. And it turns out they may have been right. Research in this area has been largely underfunded up until this point because, as the name of the technology states, most people think it's quite literally impossible. But a research team in Germany just conducted an experiment with some seriously sick resources, like an extreme vacuum and specialized shielding. If the M drive worked, it would mean that space travel would be significantly faster and cheaper and more efficient. So who won? Physics or the impossible? Definitely physics. Physics still wins. These latest, most sophisticated tests concluded that the tiny amount of thrust that NASA's team detected in 2016 was most likely due to interaction of the metal drive with the Earth's magnetic field.
Use the existing motion to start it up. The problem is a body at rest stays at rest, and a body in motion stays in motion. Just the EM drive reduced the amount of fuel required, at least the amount of thrust and force.